With languages, you are at home anywhere. Edward DeWall. As my very first French teacher, who is German, started teaching us the first lesson, this was many years ago, I began to imagine my life in France already. I pictured myself walking on Les Champs-Élysées, visiting Louvre, and some other places. The sound of those beautiful words was pure music to my ears, and I immediately fell in love with that language. As the time went by, my teacher and I became quite close. We became very good friends, actually. And so she told me about this program called Au Pair Mädchen in German, or Fille au Pair in French. A program in which basically you go and live with a family in their country, and you are responsible for looking after the children. And during your stay, you become part of that family. You sort of join them in their trips, you eat with them, you are like a big sister, okay? So I thought, when she was telling me about this program, I thought that it was really a good idea, and it would be a fantastic and cheap way to travel. Not only to travel, but to know a new culture and learn a new language. So that's how my first experience abroad started. By my teacher, my French teacher, telling me about this au pair program and me thinking about it, and in the end decided to do it. So from the moment I decided I wanted to do it and began to fill out the forms, to send my applications and everything I had to do, the paperwork, adrenaline started to kick in, and it wouldn't stop. I must clarify that at that time, I couldn't speak any German at all. My English wasn't great. Now that I think back, I suppose I had like a B1 level in English, and I had just started my French lessons. So obviously my languages skills weren't that great. It was a big gamble for me, but I didn't care. I just wanted to do it. I wanted to explore the world. I wanted to travel. And then I was flying to Hamburg, connecting in Amsterdam. And there I was on March the 20th, many years ago, my first time abroad. I was in Germany. And I was going to be there for a whole year. I had no idea all the things I was going to go through, all the people I was going to meet, the friends I was going to make, the places I was going to visit, and of course, the tears I was going to shed at some point. So I would like to share with you some of the things that will change you, that will change when you decide or when you go and live and work abroad. One of these things is, well, number one, the way you manage adrenaline, your adrenaline levels. When you start your journey to moving to another country, you grow up in different and unexpected ways. For instance, the way you manage and feel adrenaline, because your life turns into a mixture of emotions. You see, you have to improvise all the time, learn new things, unlearn old things, and just have to get used to the new situations all the time. So it's just like a roller coaster with your emotions. It's just up and down. And but you learn, you learn to handle it. You learn to handle this adrenaline, and you actually quite like it, and it becomes addictive. It usually becomes addictive. So that's the first thing that you will notice when you move to another country, the way you will handle your adrenaline levels will definitely change. 2, there will be a point when you have too much to say, and at the same time, you have absolutely nothing to say. Let me explain this to you. Imagine this. Imagine someone asking you about your new life. So you get all excited because you want to find the right words to explain what you are going through, right? You want to tell in detail all the things you are experiencing. But the words are not enough, you see. You don't have enough words to do so. Later, though, in a random conversation, in the middle of a random conversation, something reminds you about your other country. But you must shush or hold your tongue because you don't want to overwhelm everybody with your endless stories about your other country or your stories abroad. So you just hold your tongue and keep it to yourself, and you don't say anything. You don't really want to come across as a show-off, really. So it is true that, yes, you have a lot of things to say, you have a lot of things to tell people, but at the same time, you have nothing to say. You just hold your tongue and don't say anything. So at some point, you will find yourself in this predicament when you are living abroad, or when you decide to work in another country. Something else that will change is the following point. You will realize that courage, the word courage, is overestimated, overrated. Everybody, your family, your friends, will tell you how brave you are, how courageous you are, because you are going to move to another country all by yourself. And, of course, they would do it as well if they weren't afraid. But even though you have been scared as well, you will do it. You have to do it. So from the moment you decide to embark in this journey, you're no longer a coward, but not courageous. You just deal with the situation, you see. So it's not that you are brave, you are a Superman or a super woman. You just deal with it. All right. So that, the concept of being courageous or being brave will change for you, because it will just come natural to you, to encounter difficult situations or unexpected situations. And it's not that you're brave or courageous, it's just you will deal with them, So, that will change for you too. Something else is that you feel free. I mean, you've always been free, but it's a different free, you see. It's a different type of freedom, the one you're going to feel. Because remember, you have given up everything, the comfort of your home, the pampering from your mom and your dad, and you maybe, you have probably flown miles and miles away from home, but you feel like you can do anything, you feel more powerful, really, you do. Yes, we are free in our country, but when you move to another country, this feeling is even more intense, you see. So freedom will taste different to you when you move abroad. Let me go back to my story. During my first week in Germany, I felt this way. I felt completely free and powerful, but I wasn't ready for what was coming. You see, at some point during this year, I started to travel around Europe. And in one of those trips, I went to the UK. Right. From the moment I stepped out of the bus in the city centre of London, I thought to myself, I have to live in this place. I thought, back then, that it was going to be easy just to move there. I just thought it was going to be a piece of cake, as we say, And, on that trip, I visited the usual touristic attractions in London. And the more I saw, the more I wanted to be there. And the more I felt free in that country. And I felt like, yes, I want to come here. I want to belong here. Little did I know that eventually England was going to be my second home. Let me go back to Germany. Working in Germany as an au pair taught me a lot of things. For example, and first of all, to look after myself, right? To have a sense of responsibility, to look after children. Because it's not the same to look after your nephew or your niece than to have a proper job, in which you are responsible for the welfare of those kids. So you really learned to be more careful, more responsible, and so you really, really have to be an adult. All right. And I also learned, believe it or not, how to teach Spanish, and of course learn German and acquire new habits. Okay, because that's what happens when you go to another country. You get used to the new culture in no time if you are open to it. You see, when you move to a different country, you have to do it with an open mind and an open heart, especially with an open heart. German culture got me. I loved it. I love how formal and punctual German people are, how friendly and funny they can be. And of course, I enjoy their yummy food. The German food is absolutely gorgeous. Really, believe me. I like German food. So, I will be jumping like that, telling you what changes and going back to my stories. Now, I would like to go back to other things that changed for me, all right, when I moved abroad, and that those changes might happen to you if you do the same. So, this probably has happened to you already, since as I believe you are learning different languages. You start talking different languages at the same time, and sometimes you can't even remember a word in your own language. Unintentionally, you often let a word from another language slip. So you are speaking Spanish, you're in a random conversation with your friends or your family, but in the back of your head, you have the other language or the other languages. You're speaking Spanish, which is your first language, and then you get stuck, and you sort of get a little bit confused, and you just let a word from another language out. So that happens quite often. Or, because you can't remember the word in your own language. Or if you're speaking, for example, a foreign language, then the other foreign language that you already know comes across as well. So yes, you definitely start talking different languages at the same time. That happens quite often. And, it's normal. It's normal. And I believe it mustn't come across as a show off. For example, when we're here in Mexico with our friends speaking Spanish, and then suddenly you start speaking Spanglish. It's not that you want to be excuse this word, cocky or anything. It's just it happens. It's a natural reaction in your brain. So yes, you speak different language at the same time, and it's really good. It's really fun, especially if you do it with your fellow classmates, for example, that that they study or they know other languages. It's really fun when you sort of mix the languages and you speak in different ones. It's really fun. I have done it. Most of my friends, of course, because that changes as well. You sort of start to hang out with people with the same interests as you, those interests being languages and traveling and living abroad. So a lot of my friends speak different languages, And sometimes we do that, we sort of speak English and Spanish and French and German all at the same time. And there is one that speaks Portuguese. So he can chip in with a little bit of Portuguese, and the other one can chip in with a little bit of Italian. And so, it's just, it's really fun. So that's what will happen to you as well. Something else that you will find quite, weird, I suppose, is that goodbyes become easier. You see, you will soon realize that most of the things that happen to you and most of the people that, you will meet are just passing through, They will not stay there forever. They will just go through, And so you perfect the right balance between bonding and letting go. Okay? You realize that the friends you'll make abroad, you will say goodbye at some point, and you had already said goodbye to your friends in your own country, and then you come back and you say hello, and then you travel again and you say goodbye again. And so this saying goodbye becomes a little bit easier, as time goes by, and as often as you travel, then you will find that it's just easier to say goodbye, to say see you. And yeah, it's like a little bit of a battle, between nostalgia and pragmatism, really. But you will find that. Another thing that will change, and this is quite fun actually. You have two of everything. So you have maybe two phones, and if you don't have two phones, you have two SIM cards, all right? One from your home country and the other one from your other country. You will have maybe two bank accounts, one in your home country and another one in your other country, or two library cards, or coins from both countries, notes, money from both countries. And sometimes you're looking to pay for something, and oh dear, this one is not worth here, or you will get a little bit confused. So yes, it will happen as well. You will have two of everything, and that's quite fun actually. That's quite fun. Let me go back to my story, yeah? Now, let me go back to my story. Okay, eventually, remember that I was in Germany, right? I was working as an au pair Mädchen in Germany, in Hamburg. Very, very beautiful city. Very, international city. It's very big, and you can see people from all over the world in Hamburg. Beautiful, beautiful. If you ever go to Germany, please go to Hamburg. No, don't go only to Berlin. Visit Hamburg. And well, I will talk about other cities as well. Well, anyways, eventually I came back to Mexico after my whole year of working there. But I was already planning to move to the UK because I fell in love with London and what I had seen. So I was already planning to move back to Europe. How? I didn't know how, but I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it so badly. So I tried the same strategy, and I moved to England, as an au pair again. Only this time I was going to stay there only for 6 months, but I ended up staying for almost 5 years. You see, at the beginning, of course, I was working as an au pair, as I said, and I was looking after a beautiful 5-year-old girl. And I started to improve my English very, very quickly, as my host family didn't speak any other language. So my English skills went up very, very quickly. Then he came to my life. I met this man who stole my heart with his charming accent, first of all, and of course, other traits. we fell in love and we got engaged. I came back to Mexico to get my fiancé visa and returned straight back to Nottingham, where, it was a place where I was living. And I got married. So now I was there for the long run, and I acquired English habits quite quickly, actually. I learned to cook their food. And I also had the wonderful opportunity to work in a primary school as a TA. Now, what did I do as a TA? Well, first of all, TA means teaching assistant. So I basically helped children in a primary school in year 1 and year 2 with their reading, their spelling, and math in their own language. Of course, this was in English, all in English. And you know what? Working in an English environment, was very, very special for me. And it was very different than working in Germany, right? Because when I was in Germany, I just worked for the family. I was, an au pair. I was looking after the children and doing some cleaning. And I attended school to learn German. And I also attended school to learn French while I was in Germany. But when I was in England, and I started to work as a TA in a primary school, that was different. That was very, very different and very special for me. To begin with, there are people from other parts of the world. So you can hear you can overhear other languages being spoken. And yet we had English as a common mean of communication among us. Teamwork is vital and not so easy to achieve, since there are so many nationalities involved. You learn to be more tolerant, of course, more forgiving, as there are some sort of behaviors that you might find offensive, but for others are just normal, and you just have, you don't have any option to get used to it. So for me, that experience was very, very special. I will never forget about it. And you know what? As I said, there were a lot of people from other parts of the world, but the English people or British people, because they were also from Scotland and people from Scotland and Northern Ireland and Wales, they were very supportive, at least with me. Of course, with the other members of staff, but at least with me, they were very supportive, very welcoming, and they were very interested in our language, in the fact that I spoke Spanish, in the fact that I was Mexican, because obviously it's far away from England. So they were very supportive, and I had a wonderful experience working in an English environment. However, some things that sort of shocked me, apart from punctuality, super punctual, is that, they follow processes, strictly, very, very strictly. You have to do your job properly or you're fired, You can't pretend you're doing your job. You have to do it properly. And so I really like that part. It was very, strict, but everything was well done. So I quite like that. So apart from working in England, I also had the chance to give some Spanish lessons, and I had the big opportunity to study too. I attended classes every Friday at the Instituto Cervantes de Londres, where I trained to become a language assistant. And I also took a course on grammar for Spanish as a foreign language for teachers, right? So I had to travel to London every single Friday for about 6 months. It was a great experience. I had classmates from all over Latin America and Spain. We were all there to learn how to teach our language to British students. During all those years in England, sorry, I changed a lot. Let me tell you about these changes, more changes. I told you I was going to jump from my stories to, the things that will change for you when you move abroad. So let me tell you a little bit more. You start asking yourself one question. What is normal? When you live abroad or travel often, you realize that normal depends on where you are. You see, when you jump into another culture, into a different society, your notion of normality soon disappears. You learn that there are other ways of doing things, and after a while, you too take to that habit you never thought you would accept. For example, I can give you many, many examples. For example, eating beans with ketchup. Yes, Heinz beans, British beans. So picture this, beans in ketchup, in tomato sauce. So for me, it was like, this is not normal. I mean, you can't eat beans with tomato sauce. And then you try them and you think, this is not right. This is not normal. You guys are crazy. And then you try them again and you keep on eating them. And then you think, oh, this is not too bad. And then you try them again and again. And then you get used to it. And then you say, yeah, beans on toast, please, for breakfast. And yes, for breakfast, you put, a slice of bread on in your toaster, and it comes out, and then you spread a little bit of butter, and then you put the beans on top. And these beans, remember, have ketchup, like a tomato sauce, sort of. And it's delicious. So something that I thought it was normal became normal for me. Another thing is having countless cups of tea a day, or trying to solve problems having a cup of tea. You see, when you look worried, or when you look tired, or when you look angry, and if you are in England, somebody will say to you, don't worry, let's just have a cup of tea, you'll be all right. That's for sure. That's a fact. Somebody will come and tell you, don't worry, let's have a cup of tea, you'll be all right. And I was like, what? This is not normal. You can't fix problems like that. But after a while, you just take things, you just accept things as normal, and you start to do it. So that's why I say that one of the things that will change for you is that you ask yourself, what is normal? All right? Okay. Something else. A different thing that will change for you. You become more patient and try to help others. This means you become more empathetic. This is true. Honestly, this is true, guys. I know so. I went through it. You see, because when you live abroad, a simple task, a very, very simple task like getting on the bus or, whatever, becomes a huge challenge, you see. Processing paperwork, finding the right words, knowing which way to go to school or to the city center or to the shopping center. Excuse me. Those little tasks can become quite daunting and quite difficult. And so you will have to ask for help. First of all, you have to be patient with yourself, all right? Because you don't know it. You have to be patient with yourself. And you will have to accept that others will help you, okay? And that it's your turn. When you see somebody in distress, when you see maybe another foreigner, maybe a little bit lost or, confused, then you can come and say, can I help you? Or if you are in the shop and there is a person who is speaking Spanish, in our case, for example, is speaking Spanish but can't speak English, and you know how it feels. So you offer yourself, you offer help. I can help you, I can translate. So you definitely become more patient with yourself and with other people, and you become a more empathetic person, really. That will happen to you. And it's a really nice thing, it's a really nice thing. It's a really nice thing for you to go through, to live. Something else that will change is melancholy strikes when you least expect it. Sadness will get you when you are unprepared. All right? Food, a song, a smell, a poster on the street, the smallest little thing, can overwhelm you with homesickness, with sadness, and you think, oh, in our case, I miss Mexico. I so much miss our tacos. I so much miss my mom. I so much miss, our smiley faces, that we are very friendly. Sadness will strike and will hit you hard. And when you come back to your country, it will happen the same. You will remember some things from your other country, and then you think, oh, I wish I really, really, really wish I were there. I remember when such and such told me something, or I remember when I went to such and such place, or I remember when I ate this, or when I drank the other. And so, either way, sadness will be there, when you least expect it. It will just get you. And that's natural. That's very, that's normal. That's normal, yeah? Talking about normal. You will change, okay? That's for sure. Living in another country, working in another country, coming back to your home, or even if you stay there, will change you, will definitely change you, okay? I'm sure you have heard this before, that, that there are trips that will change your life and stuff. It really will, it really will. It will change who you are. It will shake up your roots, your certainties and your fears, everything you knew or you thought you knew before going abroad will be different now. So you will be a different person, you see, because you will widen your horizons, you see, and that will make you change your points of view about certain topics. As I said before, you will be more patient, more tolerant, more open-minded. It will definitely change you. More empathetic. It will definitely change you. Something else is that friendships intensify. Something different as well is that friendships intensify and you have brothers and sisters all over the world. Moving away and putting, a large body of water or land between you and people you care about is very difficult. You quickly learn who goes out of the way to stay in touch or uses their vacation days to come and visit. There will be people who distance themselves, others will come closer. I remember when I was in Germany, I made a couple of friends, very, very good friends, not three friends. One from Mexico, from Colima, another one from Santiago de Chile, and another one from Medellin, Colombia. And as I said before, this was many, many, many years ago. And you know what? I'm still in contact with them. And I know that if I go to Santiago de Chile, Carolina, that's her name, Carolina will, be thrilled to see me. And if I go to Medellin, where Laura lives, my other friend or my other sister, my Colombian sister, she will be so happy to see me. And of course, if they come to Mexico, I will be over the moon, to receive them, because really friendship changes as well, because your friends, when you are in another country, your friends become your family. They are the ones who will help you if you're in distress. If you are sad, if something bad happens to you or anything, your friends will be there. And those friends are from all over the world. When I was in England, I made a very good friend who is English. And to this day, we're still in contact. And we really, really like each other. And actually now, because she's older than me, she's much older than me. So now that I have a child, she calls herself grandma. She says that she's my daughter's grandma. So that's how bonding it is. You see how friendship becomes when you live abroad. Another thing that will change for you is that you will be able to manage, right, to fit your whole life in a suitcase. Okay? Honestly, from the moment you squeeze your life into a suitcase and you go, or two, if the airline allows you to have two suitcases, well, then two suitcases. Honestly, you have your home in your suitcases. Actually, right now, I'm living in Morelia and I have a job in Morelia. I am here now, but my suitcases are almost ready. Like they're just, I can pull them and I know exactly what to take. So you can squeeze your whole life in one suitcase or in two suitcases, depending. And, it's your home. Your home is in your suitcase and you just can move around. So that will change for you as well. Now, the next point I'm going to talk about is it could be a little bit sad, but let's see what you think. When you come back to your country, right, after living abroad for a few months, years, everything looks the same when you come back, but actually the show went on while you were away. Yes. Exciting things will happen without you. Your friends might get married, might have children. You will miss parties. You will miss graduations. You will miss maybe looking after your parents if they get sick. And, you will miss a lot of things. You know what? Life carries on, even if you're not here, of course. So you are in another country and maybe, you think that, your friends envy you and they are just thinking about what you're doing in another country and stuff, which is probably correct, but life goes on. And yes, you come back and everything looks the same. The bus station is there, the shopping mall is still there. Everything is still there. Your family is there, but things have happened while you're away. Maybe now you have a new nephew. Maybe now you have a new niece. Maybe you found out that your best friend, got married and, got pregnant as well. Your other best friend got his or her master's degree. So life goes on, even though it might look, the same. Life went on without you. All right. So yeah, as I said, that could sound a little bit sad, but it's true. It's just true. Okay. Something else for you to take into consideration is that there will be not turning back. Now you know that what it means to give up comfort, to give up everything to give up the pampering, from your mommy and your daddy, your bed, your sisters, your brothers. And there's no turning back. There's no going back. You just keep on wanting more and more, visiting other countries, living in another country. You just want more and more and more. And how could you choose not to keep traveling and discovering it? I mean, how could you not? All right? It's just fantastic. You know, it's a win-win situation. When you live in a different country, it's a win-win situation. No matter how difficult it might be for you over there, or how many difficulties you might face, it's just a win-win situation, because all the experiences will make you a better person. Believe me, there is no losing here. Something else I would like to tell you is this, and this is very important. When you go abroad, you understand that the grass is not greener on the other side, okay? Sure, living in a more modern or more beautiful place is wonderful, of course, but you will still have to pay the bills, fix the toilet, fix or repair whatever you have to repair at home, or you are going to get sick and you have to recover. So just because you live in a better country or a different country, you'll be happier, or no. Honestly, the grass is not greener on the other side. There are good things, and there are things that are not so good in the other country as well as in your own country. So you will realize that. Yes, we fantasize and we sort of romanticize, we become very romantic, and we think that moving maybe to Australia might be wonderful, and I'll be happy, and I'll have a better life, and everything will be so perfect. But you have to pay bills. You have to, use maybe the public transport. You will face the language barrier probably, because even if your English is quite good, there might be words that you still don't know. So you will come across with different things and difficult ones as well. So remember, please, the grass is not greener on the other side. Okay, you will realize this. I mean, you will realize this. So to wrap up, yes, when you move abroad, you face new challenges. Yes, you get to know parts of you that you didn't know they existed. You are amazed at yourself and at the world as well. You learn, you unlearn, which is very, very important. This is very important, guys. Yes, when you go away, you learn a lot of things, but you also unlearn things that you already knew, and you open your heart and you open your mind to get new knowledge. That's very, very important. You broaden your horizons, you say. And, after going through easy, happy, sad, and difficult times in another country, you learn a few lessons, life lessons. You start growing in humility. You become more humble, not only empathetic, as I have already said to you, but you become more humble. You evolve. Yes, you feel homesick, and you will have memories that will stay there with you forever. When you go the first time, you get homesick because you will miss your Mexico. In our case, if you guys are Mexican, if all of you are Mexican, yes, you will miss Mexico. You will miss our food, our traditions, everything. You get homesick, and you will cry. Believe me, you will cry. But then when you come back, it will happen again. You will get homesick because you will miss your second home. Your second country or your third country. You will really miss the people over there, the language. Yes, you will miss, but you know what? It's worth it. Everything is worth it. No matter how challenging your experience might be, it's worth it, because you grow up, because you become a better person, because you learn, because you broaden your horizons, you open your eyes. There's more, than what you have seen. There's more to see. There's more to hear. There's more to live. So if you have the chance to move to another country, either to study your part of your bachelor's degree or your master's degree, or to work, or maybe to do some voluntary work, or like myself, my first time was an au pair mission experience. Do it, just do it, because it's worth it. It's worth it, guys. There is no losing. It's a win-win situation. All right. So, well, thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you. I was very, very happy to be here with you today, guys. And well, I will see you another time. Thank you.